your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, just like last night, we saw some very active weather throughout our day as low pressure was developing and moving awfully slowly across our viewing area. As you can see on the satellite and radar right now, those showers are still just inching across our viewing area and will continue into the early start of our morning and dumping quite a bit of rain along with it. Now, because of the cloud cover and rainfall throughout our day, temperatures were a little bit below average, only into the upper 50s, and still hanging on into the 50s in some areas and also mainly into the 40s throughout our viewing area, but staying mild over the next few hours here, but still more rainfall is in our forecast. I will be tracking all of that rain coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
We made phone calls to all family members and we sent letters.
A nursing home staff member tested positive for COVID-19, and one woman who has a relative there says the family wasn't notified. It's a massive event for one community that lights up the night, but instead the sky will be dark this year. Many people go mushroom hunting around this time. Why you need to be careful what you pick.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
I want to make sure they're following protocol.
Concern has spread among patients and their families at the University Rehabilitation Center in Urbana. It's been confirmed that a staff member there is infected with COVID-19. Good evening, I'm Jessica KUNZ. The center says the positive test result came in yesterday, and they started informing patients and their family members as soon as they found out. But one woman says she never got a call and is worried for her aunt's safety. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen has the story.
When a staff member at University Rehabilitation Center was diagnosed with COVID-19, Administrator Dawn Job says they began to contact patients' families right away to let them know.
Yesterday as well, we made phone calls to all family members and we sent letters to family members, and we discussed it with all the residents and gave them letters as well.
But one relative of a patient who lives there says she was never notified.
My concern is, are they practicing social distancing? Are they making patient or family members aware of the COVID? Because we haven't heard anything.
The nursing home is reassuring people of the precautions they've been taking during the pandemic.
We've been following the guidelines put out by the state and federal governments to the letter.
A letter given to patients states that people are not allowed to make in-person visits or drop off items in the lobby. Staff is required to wear masks, and patients were also provided the option to wear them as well. A patient I spoke with said they're now being served meals in their individual rooms instead of the main dining room. And Job says they are practicing social distancing when possible.
We're a nursing home, so we practice it as much as we possibly can to the extent that we can. We have to take care of patients.
Job would not say what kind of contact this staff member had with patients and coworkers at the nursing home, but she says they are working to prevent the spread of coronavirus as much as possible within the facility.
We've been attempting to keep it out of the facility, and we've tried our best, and at this point it's just one staff member, so we're continuing to follow protocol, and we're just monitoring patients on a daily basis, and we monitor staff members as well.
Reporting, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
The Champaign-Urbana Public Health District is working with that facility to prevent further spread of the virus there. Illinois has more than 2,200 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the state total to over 50,000 cases in 96 counties. 92 more people have died from the coronavirus. There are now more than 2,200 deaths across the state. New for you tonight, the Illinois Attorney General asked the state Supreme Court to step in on a direct appeal today. The Pritzker administration asked the court to reverse a lower court ruling from Clay County that found the governor's order to stay home unconstitutional. The governor has said he is confident the courts will ultimately decide he acted within the law. But since the law doesn't clearly state he can issue a rolling disaster proclamation every 30 days, reporters asked him, why not call the General Assembly back to session?
Under the executive order, the legislature has the ability to meet. There's nothing barring the legislature from meeting. Obviously, they have to follow social distancing guidelines and other things, but they are considered essential as are governments around the state.
State lawmakers haven't met since March 5th. The governor says his office has given the legislature guidelines on how they could meet safely to reduce risk of spreading the virus. Everyone will have to start wearing masks out in public on Friday, but state law says you can't wear a mask and carry a concealed weapon. So many questions flooded in. The state police put out a notice saying the governor's executive order was not intended to target gun owners. State police said it has confidence law enforcement will use appropriate judgment and prosecutors will exercise sound discretion. But technically speaking, that law is still on the books. We asked the governor why not use the executive order to temporarily suspend that part of the law.
So actually, we've allowed the state police to set some guidelines here, and it doesn't prohibit people from concealed and carry. The rule that we put in place would not.
Guidelines or rules don't replace written law. Every prosecutor we've spoken with said the executive order does not require them to arrest law-abiding gun owners. The law is intended to prevent people from trying to conceal their identities. State officials say more than 4,000 inmates have been released over the past 2 months, but it's not all because of COVID-19. While the state is trying to get those with lower-level offenses out of prisons to slow the spread, the Illinois Department of Corrections says some were scheduled to be released anyway. Inmates released because of COVID are being monitored. We have new details on a story we brought you yesterday. A former substitute teacher at Leal Elementary in Urbana was in court today. He's accused of inappropriately touching students. 36-year-old Clarence Walker is being charged with aggravated criminal sexual assault. He pleaded not guilty. Police started investigating back in October. Children reported being touched in ways that made them feel uncomfortable. One 10-year-old said Walker put his hand on her back, then went lower and touched her backside. People who live near the school hope families can have a conversation about what happened.
Talk about it with your children. Hiding it or not talking about it will not help the situation, and I feel sorry for anybody who's ever been sexually abused or in any way.
Once the principal found out about what happened, she immediately notified DCFS. Walker was removed from the grounds. He never returned to teach in the Urbana School District or anywhere else in Champaign County. A teenager is in critical condition after police say he tried to break into an Urbana man's home. This happened last night on East Pennsylvania Avenue near Maple Street. Police say a teenage girl knocked on John O'Brien's door asking to use his phone. When he said no, he tried to lock the door. That's when he says a 15-year-old boy with a gun busted into the house. O'Brien fought with the teenager and held him down until police got there.
I was able to get his backside and put him in a chokehold, and I kept him there until he passed out, and I was able to put his hands behind his back and keep him in a nice position.
Again, that teenager was still in the hospital as of this afternoon. A 13-year-old boy who was with him was sent to a juvenile detention center, and that teenage girl was taken into custody this afternoon. We have an update on a man who was found dead in Kaufman Lake last week in Champaign. The Champaign County coroner says they have released the body of 23-year-old Jeremy Wallace to a funeral home. Wallace had been reported missing earlier this month. The coroner has not released a cause of death yet. He says he is still waiting on test results. The NOAA Weather Radio has been dark for months, but that could soon change. Plus, this fireworks show normally draws thousands of people each year, except for this year. And a huge change could be on the way for college student athletes, what they could be paid for.